So I've been inspired actually by Olga's talk today because I kind of debated whether or not to bring a little clip of my husband and my daughter into this talk, because I thought, well, maybe that's too personal and I wanted to be more professional. But now that Olga has incorporated the personal into the professional, which we do know is a very feminist thing to do, I thought I'm going to include this little clip because in a sense, what it does, it brings us back to accent. And you know, accent has not been part of my research, or not a central part of my research, which is really on questions of identity. But the interesting thing is I've been thinking a lot about accent over the last couple of days. And for those of you who know my work, I deal a lot in the multiplicity of identity. But the funny thing about accent, unless you happen to be John Bow, and I'm very envious, is that I only have one accent. I cannot do anything about it. I have one accent. So I have multiple identities, but one accent. So when I, of course, go and give talks in different parts of the world, first of all, people expect me to sound Canadian. So for the first 5 minutes, I can see like question marks. Where is she from? Anyway, so I am from South Africa, and so I do speak a dialect of English. I'm a native speaker of English, but one of those dialects. And so when I was trying to kind of connect, Stephanie Linneman was talking about how does she connect her work with this conference, right? And that's what I often do with when I'm invited to give talks. You know, I realized that I think we've kind of dispensed with the notion that that parents and teachers are primary, are central in the development of accents of children. I think we've kind of talked a lot about that. Although Tom Horn said that his teachers, he said, were proficient in English. In fact, you know, I think many of us would agree, and John Bow was saying yesterday how his parents sent him off to a community where the peer networks were going to be very important in his socialization. So what I have found is that in fact the connection between my work and accent and identity is really how kids access peer networks. Because peer networks are most important in terms of accents. And so I thought I would share this little clip as evidence. I'll also just note that I do have a website. I have lots of publications on my website, so please feel free, go and help yourself. I've got podcasts, I've got other plenary talks, so you know, just to fill in the gaps, because of course I can only spend so much time on the history of my work. Please feel free to check it out. But so this is part of my family. I do have a son who was probably, you know, sailing on the day I took this. So this is my husband and this is my daughter. And I love this T-shirt. It says, "What part of?" There's a long equation over here that says, "What part of this don't you understand?" So he's the only one who does understand that. So there's my daughter Julia. So what I just wanted to show you was, although my husband and I have, you know, both of us have got South African accents, my children, you know, were in fact born in the States and brought up in Canada, never for 1 week ever had a South African accent. And even though we spent multiple hours with them, of course, every day, we had absolutely no influence on their language. So just to share that with you, if that comes up.
So today is Sunday the 8th of August, and I'm Bonny Norton, and I'd like to introduce you to my husband, Anthony Pierce, and my daughter, Julia Norton Pierce, and they're going to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they do. Right, go ahead, Ant.
Hi, my name is Anthony Pierce, and I was born in South Africa, in a town called Bloemfontein. I'm 54 years old, and I'm a mathematician, and I have the T-shirt to prove it. And I've lived in North America for 27 years, and I'm the father of this beautiful young lady, Julia, and I'll hand you over to Julia.
Thank you. Thanks, Ant.
everybody. My name is Julia, as my mom mentioned, and I am 23 years old. I was born in the US, but I've lived in Canada for most of my life, and now I'm currently working as a social worker at a hospital in Vancouver. And yeah, that's sort of a little summary of who I am and what I do.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you to both of you, my family, and I'll say over and out.